Hello there. Hi. Assalamu alaikum. This is Amnah. I'm from My English Matters, and I'm back for another live session with you guys. It's been quite some time since I've done a live session on Facebook. Um, I actually wanted to just record this without going live, but I thought, you know what? I think it's more fun if I go live so that I can see your comments. It's always fun to see your comments, and you guys give me energy. So if you are watching me live, say hello in the comments. I can pull up your comments so that we can all have fun, and it's just better that way. So if you have any questions, you can also ask me live. So today's topic is called "What to Do When You Don't Understand Someone in English." A few months back, I did a Facebook Live called "What to Do When Someone Doesn't Understand You." So if you are in that situation where people don't understand you all the time, then maybe you can watch that video. But today's video is called "What to Do When You Don't Understand Someone in English." Okay, I can see someone. I can see Cik Zamila. She says, "Hello, Waalaikum Salam." Munira, hi. Welcome salam. Hi, Anggun. It's always great to see you guys. So drop me a comment, say hello. Tell me where you're watching from. I know we have viewers from all over Malaysia and also viewers from different countries as well. Hi, Izati Kurte. M. Lutfi, hello. Hi, Nigel. Good afternoon. How are you doing? Hi, Madam Azima. She's here as well. Okay. So great to see your comments. Now I'm going to show the slides. I have some slides for you guys. Right. So I'm going to share with you today 6 tips for what to do when you don't understand someone in English. Oh, Daniel. Daniel's watching from Jurong, Singapore. Hi. Okay. I get pretty excited when I see your comments. Okay. And we have Salima from Sabah. So, does this happen to you? Right? Do you always face a situation when you're speaking to someone and they're trying to explain something, or they're having a conversation with you, or maybe they're in a meeting with you and they say something and then you just don't understand what they're trying to say? Maybe you don't understand a word that they say, or maybe you don't understand a whole sentence, or maybe a whole presentation you don't understand. So we're going to go through the slides today to talk about that and what you can do. Okay, so let's get started. You can continue to say hi to me in the comments, but I will get straight to my first tip. Okay, number one is don't feel bad, right? I know that when we speak English and English is not our first language, and you are talking to someone and they're quite fluent, and then you don't understand them, you may tend to feel bad. You feel guilty, or you feel that you're judging yourself. You're saying, oh my gosh, my English is really bad. I don't understand a word that he or she is saying. What's he trying to say? Oh God, I just want to go home. I want to curl up in bed and go to sleep. Now, I don't want you to feel that way. I want you to look at the situation objectively and know that you are doing your best. And the person that you're speaking to wants you to understand. So don't feel bad about it. I've been in a situation where I've was speaking to someone who was from a different country, and they had a very thick accent from the country that they're from, and I couldn't understand them. One, I tried my best to understand them, and they also tried their best to get me to understand. So both of you are trying to communicate with one another. And if you're telling yourself, your English is bad, what to do, if you start panicking, the situation gets worse. So one thing is, don't feel bad, don't have any judgment in yourself, don't judge the other person. We're all doing our best. And another thing I want to point out is sometimes it's not you, it's just the other person. Maybe that person, like I said, has a very thick accent that you're not familiar with, or maybe that person is just unable to explain themselves well. So just think of it as a situation where you're both doing your best to communicate with one another. And what's important is that the message gets across to you. Okay? So number one, that's the first thing. First thing that I want you to not do is don't feel bad. Okay. Number two, you can ask the person to repeat what they said. So maybe you didn't hear them properly, or maybe you just missed one point or one word that they said when they were speaking to you. So you can just ask them to repeat themselves by saying, could you please repeat that? I'm sorry, what was that? Could you please repeat that last sentence? So if it was the last sentence that you didn't catch, you could say, could you please repeat that last sentence? Another one, I'm sorry, but the line was breaking. Could you repeat that first part? So the line was breaking when the person shared something at the beginning. So you could say, I'm sorry, the line was breaking. Could you repeat that first part? Right? If the line is breaking, if it wasn't breaking, then you don't lie, right? But you can use that if that was the reason why you didn't understand them. And then you could also say, I didn't quite catch that. Could you please repeat that? All right. So those are some phrases that you can use. Pretty basic, yeah, just asking them to repeat themselves without feeling bad about it. Number 3, ask them to clarify or provide examples. So maybe you heard everything that they said, but you still don't understand them. So you could say, I'd love to understand you better. Could you please clarify? Could you provide some examples, please? I'm not sure I understand what you mean. Could you please provide more details? And then you could also say, could you explain that in detail? Okay. Sometimes we just need people to give more examples, right? So that you're able to understand what they're trying to say. Okay. Number 4, repeat or paraphrase what you do understand. I think this is important because sometimes, especially if you're dealing with somebody who is from a different field, maybe you're dealing with a contractor or a vendor or something, and then they're from a different industry and you're from a different industry. So you can repeat what you understand. Paraphrase, that basically means you're rewording, you're explaining back what they say, but in different words. So you can, when you do that, when you repeat what you understand, you are helping them to see or to understand what you understand, and so that they understand what's your point of view. So once they know your point of view, or they can see things the way that you see things, they can then explain whatever that they're trying to explain in your language, right? So I hope that that helps you to understand why I think that it's good for you to repeat or paraphrase what you do understand. So you can say, based on what I understand, okay, and then you just repeat or paraphrase what you do understand. You could also say, so this is what I think you're saying. Okay. Another one is you can say, I understand that something, something, but I'm not sure what you mean by. Okay. So maybe, for example, you're getting your house renovated, right? And then the interior designer or the contractor says, we're going to need more time to finish the toilets. And then he says that because there's some mold behind the tile, something like that. You could say, I understand that you'll need more time to finish the toilets, but I'm not sure what you mean by there's mold behind the tiles because I don't see it, or something like that, right? Then they can say, oh, you don't see it because it's hidden behind the tiles. So that kind of helps the dialogue so that they can explain, which parts that you don't understand. So they know what you understand, but they know why you don't understand this certain part because it's just not within your field or your expertise. Okay, next one. So here's what I understand so far. And then you go through what you do understand. Okay, sorry. So repeat or paraphrase what you do understand. Okay, let me see some comments before we move on. Siti Haja says, yes, I always encounter these, especially people who are using different kinds of accents. Yeah, it's normal, right? Because we're used to hearing the accents that we are, like Malaysian accent. If you're Malaysian, you're used to hearing people speak with a Malaysian and English accent. I remember when I was doing translation, I used to translate TV shows, and I was given this Australian show to translate, and it was a documentary, so they would speak really fast, and then I just didn't understand the first 5 minutes. I couldn't understand what they were saying because I was not used to hearing the Australian accent. I'm used to hearing British accent or Malaysian English or American accents because I watch a lot of American shows. So it took me some time to get used to it, right? So sometimes it's not your fault. Don't feel bad if you don't understand someone. Okay. Um, oh, Nurul Hasna says, can I ask that they write, especially if I had paper and pen with me? Yes, you can do that. Actually, I'm going to get to that shortly. Okay. All right. Let's get to the next point. Number 5 is to ask them to summarize their main points. So, for example, you may be in a meeting or a discussion, and then the person is speaking, so he or she gives a very long presentation or a speech, and at the end you are confused, or maybe you're just not clear about what the message is or what the points are, or what they want you, or what they expect from you, or what they want you to do. So you can ask them to summarize their main points. So you could say, could you please summarize your main point? Or if they have more than one point, so points. So that's why I put S there in the curved brackets. Would you mind summarizing what you just shared so that we're all on the same page? Okay, so if there's more than two of you in that conversation or in discussion, you could say so that we're all on the same page. But if it's just you and that person, you could say, would you mind summarizing what you just shared so that we're both on the same page? Okay, so sometimes people tend to explain a lot. Maybe they're over explaining, but what's important is the main points, right? Please help me to summarize everything that you've just said. Okay, so this is similar to the first example. Oops, sorry. Okay, so asking them to summarize the main points so that you can understand them. I do this a lot as well. If I'm listening to someone and they're talking, they are explaining something that's very complex, I do my best to understand, and I do my best not to interrupt so that they can explain themselves. But at the end, if I'm still confused, I still don't know what they're trying to say, then I would say, can you summarize so that I can understand what you're trying to say? And I'll also use the other first 4 points to understand someone. Okay, and then my last tip is to follow up with them in writing. Let me see, I can see some comments. Okay, I'll get to your questions after we're done here. This is my last tip. So follow up with them in writing. So I've been in a situation where I was busy doing a piece of work, and then I got a phone call from someone, a vendor, and he was trying to explain something that was very complex, and it was hard for me to understand. And my mind was still on my work. So I tried my best to focus on what he was saying, but I just couldn't because I was a bit distracted. So I asked that person to send me an email instead. Okay, so here are some phrases that you can use to ask someone to follow up in writing. Okay, I'm not sure I understand. Could you please send me an email so I can digest it in my own time? Okay, has this ever happened to you? Or sometimes you're driving in a car and someone is trying to, convince you to do something. Sometimes when you're driving and then this happened to us a few weeks back. My husband was driving and he got this phone call from someone. I think it was a scammer, but yeah, this guy was telling, we're going to cut off your phone line because blah, blah, blah. And then we asked him to send us an email so that we could go through it. And they said, oh, I can't send you an email. I don't know why, but it's probably a scammer. But yeah, when you're driving and then somebody's trying to explain something to you, and I always say, can you send me an email, or a telemarketer where they're trying to promote some sort of insurance or something. I always say, can you send me an email so that I can go through the details before I can actually say yes? Sometimes they say they can send an email, sometimes they don't, but I always prefer if they send an email because I'm I like to read things. I like to go through things in detail before I make a big decision. Okay. Now another one is the line is breaking, right? Only say this if the line really is breaking. The line is breaking. Do you mind having this conversation via text? Yeah, sometimes I prefer people to just text me because sometimes I'm busy. So, and also you don't have the problem of having to, if especially if they have an accent that you don't understand, you can do this. Okay. Another one is thank you so much. I'll send you an email after this to summarize what we've discussed today. Okay? So the last phrase is similar to the first phrase that I shared here. Usually if it's somebody who is like your senior, right, or your boss, you can say I'll send you an email, right? If they are not your boss, or maybe they are someone that you are paying, like a contractor or a vendor or something, then you can ask them to write to you. So it really depends on who you're speaking to, because you wouldn't want to ask your boss, or you may not want to ask your client to write to you, right? You would be the one who would write to them. Okay, so those are my 6 tips on what to do when you don't understand someone in English. Okay, let's summarize. Number 1, don't feel bad. So, like I said at the beginning, don't feel guilty. It's okay. I think it's fine to feel bad. When I don't understand someone, I feel bad for that situation, but not to the point where I'm telling myself, Amna, you are really pathetic, or your English is really bad, and what's wrong with you? Not to that point. Feeling bad for that situation, but still knowing that I'm doing my best to understand this person, and this person is also doing his or her best to explain themselves to me. So that's what I mean by it. Okay? So not being judgmental on yourself or judgmental towards the other person. Number 2, ask the person to repeat what they said. People are happy to repeat themselves. If you don't understand what I'm saying and you ask me to repeat myself, I'm happy to do it, because the whole point of me sharing, whole point of me talking is for you to understand. And if you don't understand, then what's the point, right? So if you ask me to repeat myself, I'm fine with it. Number 3, ask them to clarify or provide examples. So if you noticed, throughout this whole session, I've been sharing examples so that you can see, what the point is, and then you can see the different types of phrases, the examples of phrases, as well as sharing some stories of my own situations that I've been through. Number 4, repeat or paraphrase what you do understand. Okay, the whole point of you repeating or paraphrasing what you do understand is to help the person see things the way that you see things, so that they're able to explain it in a language or in terms that you would understand. Number 5, ask them to summarize their main point or main points if there is more than one point. And my last tip was to follow up with them in writing. Okay, so let me see. So those are my 6 tips. Before we go, you can ask me a question. Let me see. I have a question from Nurul Izati here. What to do if in a meeting when we don't understand and the big boss seems like refusing to repeat, just mention, I will talk to your boss. So what you mean there is that you're in a meeting and the boss doesn't want to repeat what he's saying. I think that's what you mean. And just says, I will talk to your boss. So if he talks to your boss, then that's fine. You can't force someone to repeat themselves, right? So if that happens to me, I would just say, okay, I will talk to my boss about it after this. You can't really force people if they don't want to repeat themselves, and that's fine. Right. Let me see. Nurul Hasna says, thanks, madam. Sometimes we understand better when we read properly. Yep, definitely. That's me. um, any other questions? No more questions. Uh, oh, I saw this comment. Firdaus, just happened to me this morning trying to fix electrical problem at Ahmad Saleh house. Oh dear. I hope it went well. Yeah. The next time this happens, you can use the tips that I just shared. Okay. All right. So I think that's all from me for today. Wait. Oh, hide current. Before we go, I just want to remind you that if you're still not on our email list, go to myenglishmatters.com, subscribe with your name and your email and email address, and you'll get 7 tips to help you speak with confidence. So these tips will be sent via email. These are videos that can help you to speak confidently in English. And then after those tips, we send you emails every Thursday with more tips and lessons and any updates on our classes, our workshops, so that you can join us whenever we open registration. All right, so that's all from me for today. It's been fun. Thank you for commenting here, and I hope to see you in our next session. All right, bye. Assalamualaikum.